though.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome to my Lunch and Learn video series. I am here today with Jess Richards with My Smart Hands with Jess, and she is out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I'm Amelia Maddox, and I'm a doula here in Greensboro, North Carolina, serving the Triad. And I'm so excited that you're here today because I feel like I have a really personal connection to what you do, and I'm excited to talk about My Smart Hands. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me. So My Smart Hands with Jess is my baby sign language business name. I teach classes in Winston-Salem currently. And basically I teach as early as parents want to start with their kiddos and all the way up to 2 years old. And then that's level 1 and level 2. So those classes meet once a week for an hour for 8 weeks. And then I have a level 3 for a little bit older kids, so age 3 to 5. And that's a little more focused on the child because they're able to interact a little bit more at that age. But yeah, so that's what I do.
That's so cool. So what got you into teaching these baby sign language classes?
So I'm a CODA, which is a child of deaf adults.
Okay.
Both of my parents are deaf. Sign language is my first language. American Sign Language is my first language. So I've been fluent since about age 4.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I have always really loved teaching people how to sign. But what really sparked the baby sign language focus is I had someone approach me about teaching them for their child. And I thought, well, isn't there a class, to take? And she said, no, there's nothing available. And I couldn't believe it. I thought for sure, somebody was doing it. So I did my own research and nobody was teaching classes. So I thought, well, I should just do it. Why not? I have the background. I already know the language. It's not something that I'm learning to teach. So I just felt like a really natural fit for me. One thing I do like to say about my classes is that I'm using 100% ASL signs. So the words that you're learning are ASL signs, but I'm not teaching you ASL.
I gotcha. Okay,
that's a whole nother,
Because that's about grammar, and that would be a whole other kind of class. You're just learning the signs so that parents can work with their children, verbalizing the word and also signing it at the same time.
Right. So that's the big important key, is that you are using words that make sense for your routine and in your life. And then every time you say the word, you sign the word at the same time so that the connection is made for your child. And then they can start using that sign to communicate with you before their speech develops.
Oh yeah, I think that's what for my family. It was so we did some very basic signs with my 2 older children. Eat. We used milk. This is milk, right? And then we use it for milk and nurse. Let's see, please and more. Thank you. We did all of these with my children before they could really say the words, and it was great because it really eliminated the screaming.
Right. Yeah, that's what is a huge benefit of doing this, is that there's no process of elimination. You're not like, okay, let's try this. Oh, that didn't work. They're still crying. Let's try this. You're saving yourself so much time, frustration for the parents and the child. You're giving them this tool to communicate, and it's just, the benefits are amazing.
Well, and then our 3rd child has Down syndrome, and her verbal language is a little bit delayed, and she's 3 now, and she is speaking a little bit, but she's still using her signs so much, and she knows way more signs than her brothers ever knew. It's really special to have that with her. Yeah, it's really great. I know you've had some students that have come back. What do you think brings them back to the class?
I like to think class is really fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, babies, they're fun.
Yeah, that's a built-in bonus. But we do a lot of songs, so that's usually the favorite part for the kids is they always get really quiet and pay attention and love all the songs. So when you take level 1 and level 2, you get all of the songs that we learn to keep. So you can play them in your car or wherever you're going. And they really respond very well to that. And that's a lot of fun. And we do a lot of book reading and games. And the games are really fun for the parents because they're usually very competitive. So they like to see who remembers more signs.
Yes.
So I think it's just a fun environment. It's a great bonding experience for parents, for each other, and then with their child at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So I know you've talked, you have classes where you have parents and children in the class. Do you have, are you also teaching folks who are getting ready to have a baby?
I would love to do more of that. I haven't never actually had anyone in my class yet that is expecting, but I do think that that option is a really good option for parents because after your baby arrives, especially, for new parents who are having their first child, they have a lot of expectations and plans, and then they, are like, oh my gosh, we just don't have time to do all these things, or, they don't want to bring their child out into the world, so to speak, for a while. And I think that if you are expecting and you have the time to take the class, you're ready immediately right after you have your child, and you can start signing much sooner.
Well, that's such a good point. We with my daughter, we started signing. I mean, I think very early with nursing, and every time we got to nurse, even though she wasn't using, I mean, babies do have their own way of communicating when they're hungry, of course, but I was using the sign for milk every time we would nurse, and now she will sign milk to either drink anything if she just wants something to drink. But if you've never done it before, having it before you have your baby is.
Yeah, and that's a question that people ask too is, well, how early can I start, or is it too early? And it's never too early. I mean, my parents were signing with me from day one. I've seen an 8-week-old signing mom back to her mom, saying mommy, which is that's amazing.
Let's see, mommy?
Yeah. Mommy. Yeah. This is daddy. And that is so special because, they're already recognizing who their mom is. They just can't verbalize the word yet, but that they know who you are. And I mean, it was really special. But it's never too early. Babies are already always ready. Then that's what parents sometimes are hesitant about. It's like, oh, well, how do I know that they're ready? I'm like, well, they're ready. They're always ready.
Do any people have any concerns about introducing sign language?
Yeah, so I think sometimes people are confused about whether or not, why would you teach sign language to a baby that can hear? So I've actually not taught any deaf children. They're all hearing children, and that's primarily for the benefit of having, communication, bridging that gap between your speech development and being able to communicate. And the other concern is delaying speech development. Okay. That I hear most often is, well, doesn't that delay speech? No. There's nothing out there that says anything about speech delaying. If you teach your child sign language, you actually are developing at the same. If you have a typical developing child, speech will come at the same time. You're just giving them a tool and a language, because it is a language. It's not just something to do. It's an actual language that they have the skill for. Yeah,
that's so cool. And I think I've heard some, the research says that it won't delay speech. It won't necessarily get speech to come any sooner.
Right.
But what it will do is give your child some language a little bit earlier than they may have had even if it's not verbal language.
There is some correlation between a child's first signs and first words.
And first words.
So usually the signs that they're signing first will be their first words that they say. But that's really the only issue or correlation there. Definitely no speech development issues.
Oh, right. Great. Yeah. I know that my second child, he took a long time to say his words verbally, but I do know that please was one of his first words. I mean, to say verbally, and he would, he would sign more please a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. He used that a long time. Even when he was speaking verbally, he was still using his signs because he'd gotten so used to doing it.
Yeah.
And then with our daughter, since they can kind of remember the signs that they used as babies, they can also sign with her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really, and they know what she's saying. It's great to see that with, they're siblings anyway, so they just love each other and they play with each other regardless.
Right.
But it's nice to see that connection that they have. So what about children who have delays? What are some of the benefits that we see with using signs?
So definitely something that I would like to do more of is working with special needs children and those that are on the autism spectrum because they are having difficulty with their verbal skills. As long as your motor skills are okay. Learning sign language is just another tool to communicate. They have, with autistic children, they have the, picture books where they can point to show what they need.
Oh, right. And we use sometimes with my daughter, we use a core board.
Yeah.
Well, it's what it's called. And it is pictures with the word. And then, but we also do the sign, the core board, we do it all at the same time.
Yeah. And so that's just another option for them.
Okay.
Which is wonderful. Why not give them all of the things that they can choose from, that in the moment they know, okay, well, I have this option and this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like, with children whose brains might be developing at different rates or like maybe one part of the brain might be developing a lot faster than another part of the brain. And so, like you said, if they have several different options and tools to work with, then they are more likely to be successful with communication.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and my daughter, her fine motor skills are actually very good. She loves, stacking and putting blocks together. Like she's really that's like her favorite thing to do, and doing puzzles, things like that. So signing, I think, has been really great for her because of having low muscle tone. Speech is a lot. Verbal speech is a lot more difficult. Getting the tongue to do the thing you want it to do, and the mouth to do all the things you want it to do to get the language. But now we're really seeing her to say some words back to us, and she's a great imitator, and so it's really cool.
That's awesome. Another thing too is this is something that can be continued throughout their whole life. So. When you're giving them this language, they can just continue to build on that as they get older. So one thing that parents, small children, especially first-time parents, aren't usually thinking about is discipline. And really using sign language is a great tool for discipline because you're not in an environment, for example, if you're in a social setting.
Okay.
And you want to tell your child, no, don't do that, or stop, or it's time to go home, or whatever. You can tell them those things without everybody else paying attention.
You don't have to yell at them.
Right. There's no yelling. None of that's happening. They can see you from across the room. You can have this conversation without going up to them or pulling them aside or doing anything like that. You can also have this tool to ask them if they need help. If they're in a group, or like if they're on a playground, or, and you think that they might need help, but you don't want to like embarrass them or, interrupt their time. You can just quickly get their attention and ask, do they need help? You know,
that's such a great idea. Now all parents are going to want to do sign language, so they don't have to yell across the playground.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
I can imagine that. You could really expand what you're doing, and working with all different kinds of families and situations.
Yeah, that's this is really my heart work that I'm doing. I have a full-time job, so this is something that I really am just so passionate about. I think everyone should learn sign language. So a new 8-week level 1 is starting on the 23rd.
Okay, and who can attend a level 1 class?
Anyone that's either expecting or has a child up to age 2.
Okay, and when is your next level 2 classes starting?
On the 30th
of June.
Yep.
Okay.
So the following week, and that is for. You don't have to have had my level 1 class, but it's designed for people who have a foundation, a little bit of an understanding of sign language to continue on. So we do things like some of our sections are like emotions, colors, weather.
Oh, neat.
In level 2.
So, emotions. So you learn like happy, sad.
Yeah.
Type the signs for those emotions.
Grumpy or angry.
What is grumpy?
Grumpy.
And you
gotta make a grumpy face.
Grumpy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
What is sad?
Sad. Yeah.
And then happy.
Happy.
Oh yeah, I knew that one. What else? What are the other ones?
Oh.
I love these. These are fun.
I could do it all day.
Be sad.
I'm trying to think of what would be a
cold.
common.
Well, I mean, hot and cold, I guess.
That's temperature.
That's temperature.
Yeah. You could do hurt.
Oh, hurt.
Hurt. Yeah. Cry.
Oh. Those are great. Oh, yeah. Fern does cry. She just one finger. It's really cute.
I do want to touch on that a little bit is sign approximation. So,
yes.
So when parents are learning sign and you're signing to your child, you're signing the signs the way that they should be signed. While the child is learning, they may not sign back in the perfect way.
Right.
So, for example, more. Some kids will go like this for a while.
Okay.
For more, or just do one hand, and that's okay if they do that. You just need to continue to sign the sign the way that it should be signed.
Okay.
And then as they continue to sign back and their motor skills get a little bit better, their hand shape will change and they will start doing.
That's such a good point. I know that because my daughter, because she does have some low muscle tone, she can't always do the sign exactly right. We know what she's saying.
Right. Yeah.
But we do try to do the correct sign for her. I know that mommy and daddy have gone all over her head. Sometimes daddy's back here.
That's okay.
But it's okay. We know what she's saying, and we just sign back the correct sign. She's gotten some really good that I didn't expect her to get really well, like help, which I think is kind of challenging. You got emotion. You've got your hands are in 2 different positions, and she does it. It took her a while to get it, but like the other day, she was trying to move her high chair up here to the table, and she was having trouble, and she looked over at me and just signed help, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, and that's how amazing is that they can tell you when they need help and not just cry.
Yes.
And same situation if you're in a social setting and do you need help? You can sign that to them and they can say yes or no. And then you can approach.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's wonderful. Bedtime routine stuff we do also.
Oh, fun.
And I had a couple with their daughter who just turned 1, and they were, nap time's kind of hard sometimes. And we had just done bedtime routine signs. And then that week when they were home between classes, their daughter picked up the sign for sleep, which we use for nap time, and then bed.
Sleep.
So this is bed.
This is bed. Okay.
So distinguishing between nap and sleep, I think, is helpful.
Okay.
So that they know it's like a short sleep versus long sleep.
Long sleep. Okay.
So sleep, we're using for nap time.
Okay.
And she was able to tell them that she wanted to take a nap. And then while they were walking to the bedroom, she told them she wanted a banana.
Yes.
So she got to eat a banana and then took her nap, and she took her nap, and they were like, this is the best thing that has ever happened.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
that is
awesome.
really cool. I love hearing success stories like that.
Me too. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So I didn't imagine bed. We of course we read a book at night, and so Fern knows when it's time to get a book, she just goes to her room and she gets a book. She also gets a book when she goes to the potty.
Oh,
so these and so she'll sometimes go to the potty. She'll go on her own, and she'll get there, and she'll look at me and she'll go,
yeah,
where's my book? Where's my book? And it's really cute, but I know exactly what she needs.
It's really cute. Yeah. Also, signing is great for potty training.
Yeah. Well, and we've used we've used just like a T and shaking it, and that's what we've been using for potty for both number 1 and number 2.
Yep.
For a while, she was alternating between using the sign and then also like patting her diaper. Now she's completely transitioned to only using the sign.
Great.
Which I think I think it's just whatever, one level up in her language development, where she's just using the word essentially to say that she needs to go to the potty.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. We've been really, because she's very impressive. Of course, she's our child, and everything she does, we're just like, mesmerized by.
Of course. That's awesome. Yeah. It's really fun to work with all of these families, and just seeing how sign language is really just changing their home life and giving them this tool. It's really awesome to see. I love it.
Oh, that's so great. Well, Jess, thank you so much for being with me today. This is just a really fantastic, like I said, I feel, because of what we've done in our family, this is such an important issue and a skill to have for families, for communication. And so if you want to take classes with Jess, it's My Smart Hands with Jess.
Yep, I'm on Facebook. And then if you want to email me with any questions, it's jess@mysmarthands.com.
Okay, and classes start this Sunday, June 23rd.
Yeah. Still have some room.
And she still has some space. So great. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right.